Get in on the secret. September is one of the best times to visit the Boardwalk Plaza Hotel in Rehoboth Beach. The weather is grand, and just steps from the sand, you can relax and experience the convenience of their oceanfront location right on the Rehoboth Beach Boardwalk. Enjoy Victoria's Restaurant, the charming Plaza Pub and room service. Visit boardwalkplaza.com and book your perfect getaway today, or call 800-33-BEACH for fast, friendly assistance. Thanks to the Boardwalk Plaza for being the Bridge Podcast Network sponsor.
We've probably all heard somebody say that it's a blessing in disguise. Often Christians say that. So why do Christians say bad things are a blessing in disguise? We're going to talk about that today. This is the Why Do Christians podcast.
Let's cut the audio track. I'll just sing it. I think mine kind of sounds like when you're on hold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly which hold music you're talking about. Hey, welcome to the show. My name's Mark Dickey. I host the afternoon show on the Bridge radio station. I have two co-hosts. I'm still figuring out how to say that. They are both pastors in the southern Delaware area. I guess we could argue that one of them is mid-Delaware.
I mean, I think you said it right.
All right. Well,
you have two co-hosts. I mean, the information was apt.
Dos co-hosts. One of them is Pastor Bert. Pastor Bert Miller from Solid Ground Church. That's in Lewis, Delaware.
Hey-o.
Hey.
You were I'm sorry.
You hey-o'd me before.
I thought we were sounding off.
1, 2. My other co-host is Pastor Josh Dupiche from Hope Church in Milford. Hey, Josh.
Hey-o.
Are you?
Did I do that right?
Are you north of the? Are you in Sussex County?
I am in Sussex County.
Okay, all right. Well, there we go.
County.
So, the best county. Take that, Kent right. And Newcastle.
Well, there you go.
Let's make sure we alienate every other state in this episode.
I need to give an update on our states.
I'd like to know that, but I'd also like to take a moment just to shout out to some local sponsors who. I'm kidding because it's.
Okay.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, but we do have a map, and I haven't pulled it up in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But we're missing like 8 states, and then we'll have been in every single state in the country.
Any off the top of your head, you remember?
Alaska.
Okay.
I believe Montana.
Let's
Kentucky.
target this. Okay. Well, ouch. 'Cause I was born in Kentucky, but let's just all right. Let's target. We'll go alphabetical. I think Alaska is probably a high contender for the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing what the other ones that we missed were.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's the deal. Let's call this the Alaskan Challenge, the Alaskan Adventure. All right. We've got to get a listener in Alaska. So if you know anybody in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to make a phone call or send out a seal. I don't know, however you get a hold of people in Alaska and tell them to listen to this show. Did I do that right?
Yeah. And you know what? We love to ask a lot of questions on this podcast. Okay. So I bet your Alaskan friends would love this podcast.
And I feel like there's just like one Alaskan guy who's like freezing right down a shortwave radio. I'm listening.
I'm here. Listening. Yeah, but you're on the fishing pond, and
it's on a frozen iPod shuffle,
registering as Canada. So we need you to go inland a little bit more. All right,
walk towards Russia.
He's on the Bering Strait. That's why we get numbers in Russia.
Okay. I'm told this episode is great when accompanied by Aurora Borealis.
Okay, so
the Alaskan Adventure, though, I love it.
The Alaskan Adventure.
Can we get some kind of like music stinger? Yeah,
except not Indiana Jones.
All right, I can't wait. Like, you guys are gonna hear it.
Yeah, right.
Alaskan Adventure.
Oh, wow, that sounded so good.
Great, all right.
I'm not going to add that in post. All right, so this episode is all about the phrase blessing in disguise. And it's just something that people say. It's like, oh, this terrible thing I got a flat tire, but it turns out there was a car accident up the road, and maybe I would have been in that car accident, if I had not gotten a flat tire.
Right.
It was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
So where does the phrase blessing in disguise come from? Because I'm almost certain it is not in Scripture.
Nope. Well, we can talk about the theology behind it, but that actual phrase has, as best we can tell, a decisive origin. It comes from a hymn by a clergyman writer named James Hervey. Not
Really?
Harvey. Hervey. Yeah, from 1746. And I'll give you, it was in a thing, it's part of his work called Reflections on a Flower Garden, where he said this, this is the stanza of,
Okay.
it said, talking about God, good when he gives, supremely good, nor less when he denies, even crosses from his sovereign hand are blessings in disguise. And there it is. There it is.
Before we started recording, I joked that it came from a Dr. Seuss book, and I love that it's
It kind of is.
That's amazing.
It rhymed.
I wonder if there's a Christian Dr. Seuss.
Well, I mean, that guy, James Hervey.
James Hervey, right.
Seems to have lived up to it, yeah.
I wonder if there's a James Hervey Day where all the kids dress up and
Yeah, in a town where they don't have cable and everyone's really bored.
Yeah,
James Hervey Day.
James.
Father, is it James Hervey Day? Not yet, son. It's next week.
where's your James Hervey spirit?
Will there be candies and sugar plums on James Hervey Day? Yes. And children are knocking a hoop down the street with a stick. I can just assume everyone that's how it works.
All right.
What are we talking about? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Ooh, blessings in disguise. All right.
James Hervey Day seems to be a blessing in disguise.
So so even though it's not in Scripture, it's a clergyman and it is Christian in origin.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. That's kind of neat. So it's not just a random phrase. I don't know. There's all kinds of things that we did was it the Christianese episode? We've talked about all kinds of phrases.
That one wasn't there.
Yeah.
What did we do?
I don't know.
Okay.
But there's all kinds of Christian phrases, things that people say that are not in the Bible. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this isn't in the Bible either, but at least it seems like it was picked by somebody who probably had their head screwed on straight theologically.
Maybe I can't speak to the veracity of James Hervey. I haven't done my homework. He could have he could have been a bank robber on the side.
Yeah.
I haven't done the intel.
All we know is he had a great garden.
And a great poem about a garden.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. His garden might have been terrible. I can't speak. This is not a James Hervey endorsement.
Okay.
Him or the holiday. I just can't go with it.
Can we make... How about... I think this episode's coming out...
If there is a James Hervey Day?
It's going to come out on the 25th.
Google this.
Can we...
If it comes up, I'm done. I'm like, I can't continue.
How about we make May 27th James Hervey Day?
Okay, so the date of this release
Or
is
2 days
national-
later. 2
it's
days later. So
International James Hervey Day is when we're rolling this out.
5/27.
You can celebrate by curling your hair and wearing like one of those little sailor caps like Donald Duck wears.
Yep.
Yeah.
And rolling a hoop down the road.
Down a dirt road. If it's pavement, it ain't Hervey. All right?
and sugar plums.
That's right. And picking like lilies or lilacs.
It's true. You can tend your garden on James Hervey Day.
Perfect.
Great. All right. So let's get back on track.
Okay.
Very little of
Hold on.
spiritual significance
Here's
has
what I love
happened
right
on
now.
this episode so far.
So because it's the podcast, people can't see. Josh has just closed his eyes and has his head like up at the ceiling. He is so over this whole thing. He's just like, Lord, get me through this.
I like how the previous episode is us like, all right, Josh is part of our team now.
Yeah, he clearly doesn't want to be.
Ooh, what have I done?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, should we send an official request to the government? Like, let's just make this happen.
I thought you were a James Hervey opponent. That you were like, man, I'm Orville Skybox Bacher the whole way.
The whole way.
The rival poet.
All right. People listen to us because we bring the knowledge, the scripture, the word of God, to cultural topics.
Getting it right.
Let's
Getting it out there.
Do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay.
Let's drop them knowledge bombs.
So blessings in disguise. Is this actually a thing, or is this just a way that we try to cope with bad things happening?
Wow. That's a great question that I think Josh will have the answer to.
Yeah, I mean, I get the sentiment behind it, right? Just that that hardships sometimes lead to unseen good. That there's like this good that's hidden behind this difficult time, a closed door. You know, you go for something, you think that's gonna be it. When that door closes, you find out you get redirected into a whole new thing. It's like, man, that was the best thing that could have happened to me, and I would have never chose that direction. And so this idea of hardship sometimes leads to good. I think we could all say that, especially the story of Joseph, seeing how his brothers, put him in a pit and sold him to slavery and just did all these terrible things to him. And look how it all orchestrated with God to put him at the highest possible position in the land.
Yeah, blessing in disguise.
No one would have ever told Joseph, hey, you want to be like the second guy in command? Throw yourself into this pit and never see your family again. Like, no one would have ever started with that. But yeah, there was this blessing.
And that was actually, I only remember this because I just saw a meme about it. 13 years, I believe, is how long Joseph went from getting sold out by his brothers to his point of leadership. So that's a very long, time to be
waiting for a blessing,
waiting for that blessing to come.
Yeah.
I would like to just while we're dropping facts.
If this is about James Hervey,
No, we've said everything we need to say there. But along with that phrase, like the blessing in disguise, the thought also goes in like when one door closes, another opens, right?
Yeah.
I looked up that phrase.
Okay.
You know where that came from? I'm going to tell you this.
Is it right after Silver Lining?
No.
Okay. That's what I was thinking of when
I didn't realize this, though. It was popularized. Didn't come up with it, but popularized by Alexander Graham Bell, like the famous inventor, like innovator, right?
Of the telephone?
Yes. Yeah. And he said, when one door closes, another opens, but we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the one which has opened for us. And then it goes back to some French stuff that's in the 16th century that's less relevant. But I just thought that was really cool. So I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure that we were backing all of our facts right now. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, full disclosure.
What's interesting is I was even thinking about something that I've always said with the closing of doors, that I just, when I'm following God, I just feel like life is a long hallway just filled with doors. Picture like an apartment hallway. And I just walk door to door and tap on them. And it's just like, oh, God, can I do this? Tap, tap. Oh, no, that's locked. Okay, not for me. And it's just like, when I'm kind of in, my default is to not try to force things to happen in my life. I'm like, all right, if God wants me to do this, it's gonna work. And I know that's not 100% how it always works. Sometimes you got to work hard for something, but I feel like, you know what, God, I'm just going to listen carefully for you to speak into my life. And if you're showing me that this is a closed door, I trust that there's an open one somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of biblical. You can think about like Proverbs 3:6 with like the in all your ways acknowledge him and he'll make your path straight. It's not, sometimes what that verse can be misinterpreted to mean is almost this sort of alarmist, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss God's will. When what the verse is saying is, hey, if you're acknowledging the Lord in what you do, you have like, okay, so and what that means, it's not just I pray a courtesy prayer, but I want the Lord's will in my life. I want to go where he wants me to go. You have the biblical promise that you're going to go exactly where you're supposed to go, that he will direct your paths. Like he will take you where you are and supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes trying to force that door open is going to take you through the briars and the brambles when God had a clear path for you, and you just wanted to take the long way around.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've kind of derailed things here, but I want to go back to, Josh, what you were talking about with the idea of, like what people may have meant for evil, God meant for good with Joseph, and the Lord redeeming bad circumstances. Because that's true, right? Like the unpopular thing that most of us don't want to talk about is that, like, with this idea of blessings being in disguise, there can be horrible things that God can actually redeem for our betterment. But that's a bigger biblical idea than Joseph.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You think of like Romans 8:28 says that all things work together for good of those who love the Lord, but it doesn't say that all things are good. It's just that God can work them towards good. And so I think that's really important, especially when you're dealing with someone who's in a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, not to kind of rename that suffering as good, as like, oh, it's all fine, or like it's perfectly okay. But some things are just terrible and are difficult and are painful. Mm-hmm. And so for us not to be quick to call them a blessing when they are evil, or what happened was a complete wrong, and we should not be quick to rename that. But to realize,
I mean, I think, look, how much of this though? Okay, so the theological answer, okay, can bad things be a blessing in disguise? Well, according to Romans 8:28 that you referenced, everything that a believer encounters in this life, God is ultimately redeeming for their shaping and eternity. But what can happen is, with what you're saying right there, maybe our discomfort with pain or sadness or sorrow causes us to vocalize things in an insensitive way or incorrect way, right? So you have a friend or family member who, they maybe they lose their job or they go through a difficult time, right? And what you're going to want to do is make them feel better. So you maybe cut theological corners to say a thing that maybe it's really not even necessarily for them, it's for you. Or sometimes we're, okay, I don't know what to say. I don't want you to be sad, so I'm going to say whatever I need to say. And so, okay, you're going through, hey, it's just a blessing in disguise. Don't worry. God's got something else in mind. And the heart in that is good. You don't want somebody to be suffering. However, there is nothing you can say to a sufferer when they are in a fresh place of grief that's going to make that grief go away. All right, and I would just say, all right, the biblical instruction would be this. This is Romans 12:15, where Paul says, mourn with those who mourn. Mm-hmm. And also, like, rejoice with those who rejoice. But what that means, by the way, is when somebody's mourning, we don't go, actually, it's joy. No, it's bad.
Yeah.
Let's call bad. That's exactly what you're saying right now. Like, let's call the bad thing the bad thing. And so what's the proper response? I think the proper response is to not try to provide answers. Like, okay, think about the most famous book on suffering in the Bible is the Book of Job, right? I mean, that's the book on going through it. And when Job is in the middle of catastrophe, he has friends show up, and every single friend tries to give him an answer. Like once, I mean, they first show up and they mourn with him. And then, all right, now there's the awkwardness and the silence. And so they start to give him here's why you're going through it. And every single one of them is wrong. Mm-hmm. And so I think the main thing when we go through it isn't to try and say, all right, here's why, or don't worry. It's to say, all right, I know the Lord loves you and he sees you. Let me carry this with you. Let me mourn this with you, because nothing I'm going to say right now is going to make that pain any less.
Mm. So we've got a live one here. My morning Bible study, I believe, has a blessing in disguise.
Okay.
I'm reading through the Bible, like the whole Bible, chronological order for the first time in my life. And I'm in 2 Samuel 11 and 12 this morning. And that is when King David sees, is it Beersheba?
Bathsheba.
Yeah,
Beersheba is a town.
Ah, see.
Yeah. Bathsheba's a lady.
He sees a lady and he likes that lady.
Uh-huh.
And
keep it bridge appropriate. Go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically he has her husband offed, and he takes her as his wife, and God's not cool with it. But then later on, and I believe that's 2 Samuel 12. So this is a bad situation. David was not a good king, not a good guy at this point. But then the story kind of flips because she ends up giving birth to Solomon.
Not from that original getting together
encounter,
but later on.
Later. And I'm still learning all my Old Testament stuff. Solomon's important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so would you call that a blessing in disguise? Like, you probably shouldn't have gotten involved with this lady, but God found a way to redeem it.
Do you want to step into that, or do you want me to, Josh?
Oh, I mean, I think,
And not that we should recreate these circumstances in
sure.
our own lives to go, it's okay if I...
yeah, I would say there are things that are wrong, sinful, evil, that those things are not blessings. They're violations, God's law. They take away from God's image, but God can redeem. And
Yeah, that's how I view that story. Yeah.
yeah, I would say God can redeem it without redefining it.
Yeah.
It's like God makes the evil to like serve His purposes, and so in that sense, and He takes this messy, crazy situation.
It wasn't a tragedy that he went through. It was him sinning.
Well, yeah.
He was doing the
right.
wrong thing. It's not
Yeah.
the same thing as you unexpectedly lost a loved one.
Right.
It's not, there's no blessing in disguise there. It's just a good thing happened out of a bad thing, but that bad thing was a sinful response.
Yeah, I mean, the way I read that story, I would say, first of all, that David definitively sins in that story to the point where his life never recovers, right? Like his relationships with his children, his kingship, everything about his life is shattered by it. And so through the end, he's never in the abundance or joy and innocence that he had prior to it. Like he essentially emotionally and spiritually limps for the rest of his life because of everything with it.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm just I've read pieces of this, but I've never read it straight through.
Well, I mean,
so this is my first time
well,
through.
Spoilers then. Yeah. So, but the other part would be this, because I would read that story and say that I don't know how complicit in it Bathsheba was, because David is a king and there's all kinds of pressure with that.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
she was forced into a situation where, okay, she's locked into this for the rest of her life. And so how does the Lord take care of her? He blesses her with a son who becomes king.
Wow.
Okay, so terrible situation. I would say there's nothing redemptive about the nature of the situation and David's behavior in it. And yet, in the middle of that darkness, God is able to provide for her in a way that would have meant the world in that culture. So I would be hesitant to call it a blessing in disguise. Just horrible thing that the Lord is able to redeem.
I just want to brag on you guys because, I called that a live one because I was like, oh, I didn't realize my reading this morning would make it into today's podcast.
Yeah.
And then you guys just off the cuff are like, oh, yeah, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Here's why it's not a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So tragedies happen, bad things happen, things that we want to call a blessing in disguise. Sometimes evil is just evil. Sometimes bad stuff happens.
Yeah. Yes. Like, look, I think just for us, like a maturity marker, I don't remember who said it, and I could have researched that, but now this is just off the cuff for me. Somebody said that wisdom is not just knowing what to say, but when to say it. Mm-hmm. Right. So like we have theological truth. Okay. The Lord is always present. He's always redeeming. He's always shaping something greater. If not in this life, then in our eternity. And I think we have to keep that in mind so that we don't fall in this thing of, like, oh, I bit into a Snickers and chipped my tooth, but inside of it was a rare Aztec coin that paid off my house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not that kind of immediate life, this life situation. It could be that you go through something that in this life, there is no redemptive thing. Like, in this life, there's never a time when you will look back on it and be like, man, I'm sure glad that I went through that, and wasn't it great? But I don't know what the other end of eternity looks like, right? So I can't say, all right, the Lord's not forming me or you for eternity. But here's like the reason I bring up the idea of knowing when to say something. If you're with, okay, we'll use an example. If you're with somebody and let's say they just lost a loved one, there is no, hey, you know what? It really, really stinks and it's really, really painful, but this might be a blessing in disguise. Maybe God's, just preparing your heart for something greater. There's never a time that's appropriate because there are no words. The only words or only thing you can do in that situation is be there and listen. And when they cry, you cry with them. When they mourn, you mourn with them. You give them the space to be in pain, and the balm that you provide is your presence.
Yeah, that reminds me of a statement I read: not to rush to interpret the blessing.
Oh, that's good.
But offer presence, offer prayer, join them in the grieving, because it's easier much later sometimes to look back and go, oh, now I see what God was doing through that. But in those moments, it's a hard thing to see. But even to what you were saying too, Bert, about how people just approach suffering and pain and kind of look to faith to be like the way out. It's like, I think it's a bad understanding of faith. It becomes, this is how we take away pain. Mm-hmm. When really what I think I found is that faith is trusting God when you're not okay.
Yeah.
When you're in pain, to still trust him. And that doesn't necessarily will make anything about the situation better.
Well, bro, let's roll with that though. Okay. Yeah. Because that is a cultural contradiction in terms of how most of us experience what we want to get out of faith. So many of us, the reason that we're going to follow Jesus or the reason that we're going to be a Christian or join whatever is, I feel a certain way, I want to feel better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the intellectually honest thing to do would be to say, everybody experiences pain. Everybody experiences brokenness. Christianity does not make it so that you don't experience that. Like Jesus promised it in John, he says, in this world you will have sorrows or you will have troubles, but take heart because I've overcome this world.
Mm-hmm.
But the promise is you're going to go through it. So what Christianity does is it redefines our suffering in the scope of eternity because we have a God who's conquered death for us. So it's not like, so I think the worst things that we could do is assume that, the blessing in disguise means that I'm going to always have a positive outlook on my pain. Like I'm gonna always look at my pain and go, well, praise God. I don't understand it, but I know, smiley face.
Right.
I know. I know he's being good right now. Okay. I can know that he's being good because he's always good. Doesn't mean I have to like what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And I can be hurting in that, and that's okay.
Well, and that sounds like a healthy way to respond in that situation. You were saying how God shapes us.
Yeah.
But only if we let him.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think of James 1. So that then it goes down to the question, what is the blessing, right? What is the blessing in disguise? And if it's not the changing of the situation, if it's not me kind of getting out of the pain, but
although sometimes it could be.
So yeah, absolutely. I think of James 1 where it teaches that that trials take joy because our trials produces perseverance, and so that is what, in a sense, like God does in us while we hold on to Him by faith while we're suffering. He produces in us this persevering spirit that continues to hang on to Him, continues to trust Him when things are not currently better, they're not feeling any better. Mm-hmm. But I keep trusting God, I keep believing God, and that is in itself a blessing. That is in itself a way that we can grow and mature. He's creating us to be a people that love Him despite what we are suffering, despite what we're going through.
Well, and where I was going with that was just that if like that blessing doesn't come when you choose to hold on to bitterness and resentment, what could have been, oh, it was supposed to be this way, but we don't know God's way.
Well, we can roll with this a little bit more. I think it's probably good to do that. A lot of us, I'm not trying to knock an innocent faith. I'm just saying, all right, let's just step into this a little bit deeper, right? So many of us, we love the idea, maybe it's through Disney movies or books or maybe preaching that we've heard, whatever, this belief of like, man, you know what? Like, I need to experience my calling. I need to experience that thing that defines my destiny. I need to like experience, like, you know, I'm here, I'm a diamond in the rough. I'm waiting for that moment where who I am and who God actually has made me to be is going to be pulled forward, right? And let's remember something that intrinsic in the Christian calling, like the thing that believers are called to. Listen to this. This is 1 Peter 2:21. This is Peter who walked with Jesus, who Jesus told to walk on water. When Peter looks at this idea of calling, you know, he says, for this you have been called. Okay, here's your calling. Because Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example so that you might follow in his steps. Hey, you know what your calling is in this life? This life's going to be rough. But God's going to form you to be like Christ in the suffering. And so, yeah, there is a blessing in disguise there.
So is what I'm hearing that this is just optimism, for that the concept is just being optimistic about life's troubles?
No, I mean, Josh, unless you disagree, I think the concept isn't bad. We just want to be careful to not use it to minimize pain or pretend that it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say it's a bit different too, because in the sense that like we are trusting in someone to bring good out of pain, and we know that we don't have the power to do that, and we may not be able to do anything about what's happening, and sometimes we do, but the ultimate transformation, in the ultimate sense, we're trusting that God will bring about some good, will bring about a blessing, has some eternal perspective about it that we do not have right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would just, you know, maybe you're hearing this and in your, this is kind of different than your faith camp would identify this idea. So maybe you come from a background where if there's anything less than what appears to be transparent joy at the moment is present, it's somehow a lack of faith. To which I want to just say, okay, number one, like we believe God for I think every person sitting at this table, we believe God for changing outcomes, and we believe, you know, like that He answers prayer, and we believe in the joy of the Lord. However, we believe that our joy is not circumstantial to temporary things. So maybe, you know, like as we've been talking about this idea of Jesus overcomes the world, and that will sustain us through hard times, but that means that we don't, you know, call bad things good things. Maybe your temptation is to go, okay, well, no. Like the Bible says, we don't mourn like those who have no hope. Like we've got hope, so we're not going to mourn like them. I go, yeah, and the hope is the resurrection of the dead. It has not like when that like that verse is speaking. It has nothing to do with I feel happy all the time here. That has to do with the hope of my Jesus who has overcome this world. But yet, no, like we do believe absolutely there are times where, okay, you know what? This thing happened, like one door shut, another door opened in this life. Of course that happens. Mm-hmm. But what we're saying is we don't limit it to that, and we want to make sure that we guard ourselves to not force that on other people, but instead to authentically identify with them in whatever they're going through.
That's cool. While you were explaining that, I imagined if we treated life's problems, and don't go too deep on this, if we treated life's problems like the problems we have in a video game, where it's like, oh man, I lost all my coins. I'll get more. Like, it'll be fine. Like, I don't treat my gaming problems like they're real problems. And as a Christian, when you know that there's something beyond this world, you can hold all of the pieces of your life so much more freely. That doesn't mean totally give up on everything in your life, but that's just what I pictured when you were saying that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's like there's a, you know, my kids, just one of my kids today, I was putting chocolate in his hands, and then his hands are small, so he's like 5. The chocolate is going to fall out, but I make sure my hands is underneath it to catch what he could not handle, and like take care of the things that he just could not take care of. I mean, like I catch the rest of the chocolate. And I kind of like, in that sense, is how I think about what you're saying about how we can loosely and just be more at ease, knowing that, hey, there are things that are going to happen in our life that's going to be extremely difficult, extremely painful, but there's a hand there that can make sense of it, that can carry it, and that can bring it all together in a way, into eternity in a way that my hands can't.
Yeah. But I mean, I agree with that. I'm just thinking about, like, so we've got a broad range of folks and experiences listening to this show who might hear that in different ways. So I affirm what you just said. I would just want to make sure that we clarify with everything else that we've just been saying. When we talk this idea of, you know, sort of living open-handedly, right, Lord, you know, the Lord gives, the Lord takes away, right? Blessed be the name of the Lord. That's Job. Okay, yeah, we affirm that. That, however, doesn't mean that our loss of stuff here doesn't affect us, or that we're saying some kind of, you know, asceticism where nothing in this world matters to us, and we're just so sort of, you know, zen with the world with the Lord existing in the world, that nothing affects us. Let's just remember, like Jesus in the garden when he's about to face his intense suffering, is praying for the Father, if there's any way for this cup to pass, let it be, but not as I will, thy will be done. So there can still be this, like, you know, Lord, I could be losing this, I could be losing that, I could be losing this person, I could be losing this situation. And it is right and good for you to be distressed by that, to mourn that, but within that scope to say, all right, but not my will, thy will be done. And what that means is, okay, my faith is in you. I know that you will only do good. So my confidence is in your character and your action. So in that sense, yes, there is a blessing in disguise, but we wouldn't say that means that what you're going through ultimately doesn't matter, or that you should just be cool with it. Like, we're not saying that at all.
That's a solid way to wrap up this episode.
It's okay. And also, happy James Hervey Day to you, from our family to yours.
That's right. Remember that in 1746, James Hervey did something amazing, and we're going to celebrate it on May 27th.
I'd like to end the show by singing my favorite James Hervey carol. I hope that's okay.
James Hervey, he wrote a really great hymn, and we
love to sing that hymn with you about the Christian spin.
If you have a question, you can send it to us on the computer. Email podcast@wearethebridge.org.
And we'll get back to you sooner.
Hey! Okay, bye. If you have questions for future episodes, email podcast@wearethebridge.org. Thanks for listening, and thanks for dealing with our ridiculousn's. Happy James Hervey Day.
Josh, as a brother in the Lord, I do feel a bit convicted that you didn't join us on the James Hervey carol. I was a little bit concerned about that.
Do you not celebrate?
He celebrates it his own way.